So welcome everyone to today's Greeves, and I'm the Director for Women in Business for the Royal Bank of Scotland brand and the wider NatWest Group. We have a great lineup today of female entrepreneurs from across Scotland who are going to discuss the impact that COVID has had on their businesses in the rural sector, and I'm very much looking forward to hearing what they say. Let's say it's fair to say that 2020 hasn't been the year that any of us has expected. But before we start, just a couple of housekeeping items to go through. The call is being recorded today, and you'll be able to access and share this recording with your networks. We have a couple of journalists who have joined us today, so welcome. And if you do ask a question and you prefer for your name not to be published, then please let us know separately. I do encourage you to use the chat function though. So today's event, my role, I'm responsible for the Women in Business strategy across the UK for the bank, across all our brands, for frontline support and delivery. And we work with a number of external partners to support us with this. And we've also, last year, we launched the Rose Review for Female Entrepreneurship. Last year, through our Women in Business proposition, we hosted over 350 events, reaching over 22,000 females. And we've over 600 externally accredited Women in Business specialists, and our specialists are there to support our female customers through a variety of initiatives, from Back Her Business, our crowdfunding platform, to Business Builder programme, and to our 12 accelerator hubs, right through to our private banks, COOS, and a collaboration with BGF that they are doing to launch the UK Enterprise Fund next month, which will support more females to access the VC market. Last year, our Chief Executive, Alison Rose, released the Rose Review for Female Entrepreneur on behalf of the UK Government. There's a 250 billion economic opportunity in the UK alone if women set up and scaled in business at the same rate as men, and we want to try and support as many females on that journey. The report looked at the main barriers in the UK that females face and set out 8 key interventions, because we wanted to look at the positives and what we can actually do to address this. So the 3 main areas that it fell into were to increase funding towards female entrepreneurs. Secondly, around family care support, and we see this as a key part of it, is around that family care. And lastly, to make entrepreneurship more accessible for women, and to support locally through relatable and accessible mentors and networks, a bit like today's event. Don't worry, I won't go through all 8 interventions, but I really do encourage you to have a look at the report and the 1 year on update that we launched in March this year. One of the key parts of the interventions is the Investing in Women Code. That has over 66 signatories from major UK banks to angels and venture capital funds. Annually, signatories to this code will have to share, have voluntarily agreed to share data with the UK Government, showing their support and best practices guidelines that they've done in the last year to support female entrepreneurs. This annual report will also be able to see if there's any tangible traction in the movement of the numbers over the years. Well, the most significant barrier remains low awareness and access to capital. This is why in January this year, Alison Rose announced a £1 billion of debt funding for female-led businesses. This is one of the largest interventions by a UK lender and shows our commitment to making a difference. In October last year, we launched our family care products, another one of the interventions. This allows increased flexibility around capital repayment holidays and pay-as-you-go holidays for business owners with family care responsibilities. Obviously, just now with COVID, that's on pause, but that is a business-as-usual product that we now have on offer in years to come as well. Access to support networks and mentorship is another key area that the Rose Review really seeks to address. It's shown through the report and through speaking to the females that we don't have as many access and many sponsors as networks as male business owners. So like many of you here today, we've had to pivot our support strategy. We are now virtual for all our events, and we've seen increased demand, which is really encouraging. We hope that next year we can blend this with a face-to-face approach and also a virtual approach. We're also looking to launch a mentoring pilot later this year, as access to mentors and support sponsors was a key finding of the report. Our customers are asking for a mentor, and we are trying to do that on an ad hoc basis, but we really want to be able to scale this. There are many other interventions, from everything from through access to entrepreneurship within schools through our Dream Bigger programme, and many more. And I really do encourage you to look at the Rose Review and the 1 Year On report, which we'll be able to send you after this event. So moving on, it's my great pleasure to introduce you to June Geyer, who is the Chair of Women in Agriculture Scotland, who many of you I'm sure will know today. As you know, Women in Agriculture Scotland is an unincorporated association of individuals who are advocates of the promotion of progression of women in agriculture. In November 2015, we launched their first conference at RBS Gogarburn with the aim of supporting, inspiring and developing women in Scottish agriculture to achieve their aspirations and create a more progressive, successful and inclusive society. Events are open to both men and women. June is also actively involved with her family's engineering firm, Geyer Plant Services, alongside a beef and arable farm based in West Fife. June also has many roles. She is also, in her spare time, she's currently chair of the Willie Davidson 75th Anniversary Fund, supporting the Scottish Association of Young Farmers Clubs. And she's also an agricultural, she was also announced at agricultural shows, a curler and a past director of the Royal Highland and Agricultural Society of Scotland, and past chairman and secretary of the local agricultural show. I feel like I'm an underachiever now. June, over to you and talk about women in agriculture, and tell us about how you've adapted your business over the last 6 months. We have been having a few technical problems. June, you're on mute.
Right. Hello, can you hear me now? Is that fine? I'm having real problems in the Central Belt with my internet access at the moment. Thank you, Yvonne, for that. We're part of a third generation family engineering business in West Fife. We lie between Dunfermline and the Kincardine Bridge, and my father-in-law employed over 60 people plant hire in the late 60s and 70s before specialising in plant repairs and hydraulic hammer hire for breaking rock. Now my sons are involved in running the business, and we've evolved into focusing on ram repairs, profile cutting, welding, hydraulic hoses, agricultural machinery spares and the odd farm sign or two. However, at the start of COVID, one of our customers asked us to make a set of weightlifting weights and a stand because he was unable to go to the gym and it was difficult to buy equipment during lockdown. He was so pleased with the job, he posted them on his private Facebook page, and then the next day phoned us with 2 further orders from friends who had seen them. So word spread, and soon we were busy churning out lots of steel discs, bars, stands and benches of varying sizes and weights, and to date we've produced well over 200 orders. Everyone was involved in the product process. Even long-suffering girlfriends were drafted in at the weekends to help with the painting and assembly. The best thing was that none of our staff were furloughed. In fact, we increased our staff. We actually advertised for a member of staff for our accounts department, and we received well over 240 applicants, including an airline pilot, a baggage handler, and a theatre choreographer. We've got 2 welding apprentices who have just returned to college, and out of their 16 classmates, only 4 were not furloughed. So ours are pleased to have had extra experience over that period. From a personal viewpoint, I found that COVID has made our family become more mindful of their time. Normally we'd be dashing about, involved with meetings, sports competitions, social events, and whilst we miss these and the company of friends, we now take more time to enjoy our meals at home with less stress and rushing around. Albeit life is still very busy, just less travelling from the homestead. Another thing that we've discovered is that being clamped up together as a family and with good employees that are like family members, personalities come to clash. So I got some personality books out, and we've now discovered how to work with each other. So those that have been on rural leadership will understand what I mean by the different personalities, which was great. Zoom and Teams meetings are new methods of communicating with business colleagues and family, but now rural connectivity, or lack of it in my case, has been highlighted. And without our 4G router, we have less than 1 megabyte download, albeit if not even in a remote area. We're just unfortunate that we're at the end of a copper line here. In fact, it was in go this morning whether I was even going to be able to be part of this event. And who knew we'd experience one of the most spectacular thunderstorms last week? The village here was flooded, as was our workshop, and one of our in-calf heifers got caught off in the current in the burn and swam off underneath the bridge in the village, which had no headroom at all, but luckily it came out safely at the other side and managed to jump a fence back into its field. Anyway, so that's what's been happening with us, and now I'd like to move on to Elspeth Goldie, who's from Ayrshire. Elspeth actually was studying, I think, biology in Aberdeen, and then realised that the nursery school and children was what she'd like to be. So can we have Elspeth next, please?
Hi there, thanks Jen for the intro. My name is Elspeth Goldie, and I'm the owner and manager of Craighead Country Nursery School. We're based in Ayrshire, in Mauchline, and the nursery is part of our farm diversification project. We cater for children aged 0 to 5 years in the countryside setting. So my husband's family farm, where we're based, is 176 acres, mixed ground. We run a herd of 60 cows and suckler calves. We sell about a year old and breed our own replacements, so limers and Simmental at the moment. In the past, we've also lambed 160 cross ewes, but about 7 years ago, we decided to take on winterers instead. This wasn't an easy decision for my father-in-law, James, who loved lambing, but isn't quite as fit as he used to be, and it was becoming quite a hardship at that time of year. So our long-term plan for the farm is diversification. Initially, we went down the renewables route, installed a biomass boiler. Then, supported by the Royal Bank, we decided to diversify further and open Craighead Country Nursery School. If we could have slide number 1, you can see a picture of it. There it is. So 4 years ago, we opened our doors. We had 3 children and 2 members of staff. Today, we have 110 children each week, and we employ 22 members of staff. And that has been quite a steep learning curve to get to that point. As for many local and national businesses, we weren't factoring in coronavirus in our long-term business plans. If you've ever completed a SWOT analysis, you now know what to put in that threat box. I always wondered what would go there, but coronavirus would tick that box. So on Friday the 20th of March, about lunchtime, we decided that we couldn't open the following week. It was a really, really difficult decision to make. At that point in time, the government hadn't announced any sort of support. The furlough scheme wasn't mentioned. We'd had discussions about laying staff off, what we were going to do. It was a very emotional day, and I don't think I'll ever forget it. And I realised at that point how much we'd put into the business, and I knew we needed to think a bit differently in order for us to survive and thrive. So we had to rethink as a family, as many people did at that point. Michael, my husband, was at this point running the farm since his dad was off the road. He had a knee injury in December, so he was off the road. My husband also runs his own architectural drawing business. And we also had 2 children at home, Blair and Robin, and we had to factor that into what we were doing. So the farm was so quiet, no traffic coming up and down to the nursery. It was a completely different place to be. So we had reached our capacity in the nursery building. We had a waiting list and it was running really well. Last year I completed a forest school leader course, which was a huge commitment. It involved a lot of work, but it's been a really valuable investment because over lockdown we've been able to develop our forest school, and that is going to be the future of our business. So we spent lockdown getting ahead as much as we could with as much of the farm work as we could, and the weather helped that. And as well, we were developing the forest school site in order to welcome more children to it on return. Have the next slide, please, our pictures. So children aged 0 to 5 spend the majority of the day out in the woods. We've converted a container into a meeting cabin where they have breakfast, They have resources in there to play. And then we walk down the old road, as you can see there, and spend the day in the forest. So at Forest School, children are given the chance, the space and the time to explore. They're involved in activities like den building, campfire cooking, natural crafts, and they're immersed in nature, and they learn all about tree IDs, mini beasts, and really the importance of the countryside. They're walking through the fields, the cows and sheep are out. They ask so many questions and get so much out of being in that environment. Could I have the next picture, please? So we've spent lots of time creating pathways. We have added wood chip to areas that were particularly soggy. We've installed concrete plinths to give hard standing for children to have access to changing wellies over. We've added covers with semi-permanent tarpaulins. We've installed a wood burning stove, added hand washing sinks everywhere, outdoors in the forest setting and within the nursery environment. And we also spent a lot of time developing a new website over lockdown. The forest is an amazing place for children to be in that environment. It's got huge benefits for children's physical development, as you can see in the swing, their confidence, their independence and their resilience. So lockdowns gave us time, same as June had said, time to reflect and plan the changes and developments we've needed to make. We've also been supporting our own families, the nursery families, through that time on an online app. We have a nursery app, and every day during lockdown, we've added posts of ideas of activities to do, songs to sing, stories. We've also included what's been happening on the farm. So we've put photos up of cows calving, the cows going out, silage time, anything that's happening, we've added up for families to be involved in. And that's really helped them stay connected and engaged with us. And they've also seen the progress of the forest. Look at the next picture, please. So we're really delighted with the new setup of the forest environment. And I really enjoyed spending more time outdoors, helping on the farm. I don't often get to do quite as much as I did over lockdown. Blair and Robin, I've loved being at home, as you can see, with the smiles on the face and the mucky wellies. We've been able to move the business forward in a way we couldn't have done if we were working on it. If you're working in the business, you can't work on the business. And you get sucked straight back in already. I'm sucked straight back into the day-to-day running. You can't look at the bigger things. Have the last slide, please. So I think the lesson I've learned over lockdown is to slow down and to take time and look at the bigger picture. Don't get stuck down in the small details. Look long term, look big, and that's where the adventures happen. Thank you. I think I'm going to pass you on to Debs. Debs coming up next.
Morning, ladies. Morning, everybody. It's nice to see you. I hope that my broadband holds up okay. It's becoming a bit of a theme. I wear a lot of hats, but today I want to talk to you about a group that my daughter and I run on Facebook. It's called Ladies Who Lamb, and we actually started the group in January 2019. So it's just gone over 18 months old. We've grown to 6,500 members throughout the UK in that time, and we also have members internationally, so in France, Ireland, Australia, America, but predominantly UK. The reason we started the group was because Jess was about to start a night lambing job, and it occurred to us that there were probably a lot of women in similar situations. They were going out to work alone. They were going to be working in tough conditions, probably overnight, and a really hard, demanding job, and that they were likely to be vulnerable. So we thought that a social group might offer some support. One of the skills I've developed over the years is managing groups and people who are geographically separate. So that came to the fore when we built this place, this virtual place in Ladies Who Lamb. And I must say that we've probably only met a handful of these ladies. We maybe know them by coincidence, but in general, we only interact with them virtually. So it's through this Facebook group. I don't know if you know much about Facebook groups, but the group we run is closed, so you have to ask to join. You have to answer some key questions, which helps us test how genuine you are. So we're trying to create a safe place here where the women who are there are who are in the group know that they can be supported, they can post things, that they're not going to get criticized. So we have a set of group rules which you must sign up to, and those include things like being kind and courteous, no bullying, and we respect everybody's privacy, and there are no sales or surveys. So they're the simple rules, but actually the feeling from the group is that we it's a network of women who share things about lambs and sheep and daily lives on the farm. Although I must say, we have it's not just farming, traditional, what you would think agricultural businesses. There are a lot of those in the group. We have some women who have thousands of sheep on the hills, but we also have city farms, and we also have hobbyists and people with pet lambs who really don't have an awful lot of knowledge about how to look after animals. And the sharing that we do on this group, posting up questions and things and getting answers, means that they're getting support, and they're getting new skills, and they're learning things without being having to find it. Where else can they find it from? So this is a great resource. This is what the ladies are telling me. I think we all know that agriculture is quite a male-dominated environment, but this is a place where what we've created is where women can ask seemingly daft questions, and they're never made to feel silly, or they're not belittled. So there's no criticism in this group. It's been the feedback we get is that that's hugely valuable about how it builds their confidence and their skills, and this is becoming the go-to place. The other good thing about Facebook and social media is that it's open all the time. So anybody can post something at whatever time of day or night, and they're getting questions almost instantly. So we do like to think that actually there's been a lot of lives saved, not just lambs' lives and ewes' lives, but also the mental health of women who are looking after these animals out in the shed at the field. One of the things that we've introduced was the buddy network, and this came about really sort of just in the early days of April, late March, when lockdown was announced, and I was assessing my own farm's risk assessment and its health and safety protocols. And it just occurred to me that lone workers have to worry about key person risk, and how do we do that on our farm? But then I translated that to the Ladies Who Lamb group. There's a lot of women out there who are working on their own, and how do they look after themselves? What was their backup plan if they were taken ill? So what we did was I knew that Google Maps can be personalized, so I just put a call out in the group. We set up a community map, and if somebody could put up the picture of the map, please. So basically, we just went by postcode, and we pinned the postcode and the name of the lady from the group who was there, and we basically offered it out and said, if you're sick, or if you're taken ill, or if you can't get out to either feed or check your animals, look up the body map, see who's close to you, and put a call out to them. Can they come and step in for you? Can they help? If that whole network then becomes something that people can call on if they need to, but not just from an emergency point of view. It's become a bit of a social thing as well, where people are saying, oh, I didn't know that you were so close to me. So all of a sudden we're making new relationships and new networks. We have more than 600 people, ladies, who've pinned themselves on the map. So and the map has been viewed 7,000 times. So I know it's being used. But what we don't collect, primarily because of the sort of the hands-off way, we let this group sort of run its course, and we only step in if we need to. It doesn't happen very often, but it's a very demographic and a very run from the ground group. So if the ladies want it's there for them to use. I do know that there's been trade links. so for buying and selling of lambs, tups, ewes, new animals, all sorts of things. But they've also shared information about contractors and such as clippers or shearers and hauliers and things like that. I also want to say that Ladies Who Lamb is not just about sheep. It documents the daily lives of the women involved in farming. We have wonderful pictures of funny moments, the ups and the downs as well, and the times when you have to laugh because otherwise you just cry. And we've all been there, so we know what it's like. We've had people who have had terrible family tragedies, and they've turned to the group to help them get through grief and shock and help them cope and continue to carry on every day. But what we find is that the virtual group that we've created, it's created a safe zone, and it helps people manage their mental health because it's easing their loneliness and it breaks down the isolation that we all know that is a common problem on farms. So in July, the next thing we did was it was a bit of a off the cuff decision. We jumped on the bandwagon of virtual shows that were flashing across social media, and it was all meant to be a bit of fun. But I was completely overwhelmed because we launched this virtual show with 16 classes of different types of breeds of sheep. And then we secured some sponsors for prizes from Harbro, from Crystalex, Royal Bank of Scotland helped us out. And we also had some help from pharmacy, and pet food vets in Devon and Cornwall. So it was a national program of sponsors who were delighted to get involved and help us out with prizes. We made some rosettes up by a local company, just a couple of miles along the road from me here in Perthshire. And we recruited some industry leading judges who helped us out across all the different breeds. I was just completely overwhelmed. I mean, there was 1,150 entries in this show, and I had no idea it was going to do that. And I honestly tell you, I am still recovering. It was so popular. I had no idea it was going to be so popular. But the ladies loved it, and they just wanted to get involved. So we're realizing actually that this we have somewhere where we can go with this. There is a desire for the ladies to grow. Jess and I have just launched a brand, and we have a logo. We have some merchandise on the way. The ladies are planning a book of silly sheep stories, and we've been in touch with a publisher about that. And there's a demand to organise some get-togethers, some training, some local meetings. And the brilliant thing about this is that we all have different skills. We have different jobs, and we have also what we've created is a network that we can tap into. One of the key points about this network is that it's not just a group about cute and fluffy pictures of sheep. There's a lot of entertainment in that, and there's certainly a lot of likes and reactions that are generated out of the Facebook posts that are funny moments. But at the same time, it's become a go-to place of advice where people ask questions about all sorts of different ailments, whether it's a lambing ewe or off or maggots at the moment. Fly strike is just causing huge amount of problem. And the technical information that we share on there, because if somebody asks a question, then somebody else comes, or 10 other people come on with answers. And so we've given people a platform where it's really raised their skills in looking after in animal husbandry. So it's been quite an inspiring couple of months. But I want to close with a comment that one of our ladies made, a lady, Jenna Jones, who I've never met. I only know her through Ladies Who Lamb. And she puts it so articulately. And she says, this group is a godsend. It's an enormous wealth of knowledge and kindness. You can ask anything, and there's always someone to help. You can speak about your troubles, and there's always someone to listen. Even if it's not necessarily sheep related, we have a whole little community of our own. It's powered by exceptional women. Nobody is made to feel small. If you have 1 sheep or 1,000 sheep, you're welcomed and supported. There's probably very few of us have met others in the group in real life, but most seem like familiar faces with their own stories to tell. It's a massive hub for learning. I'm a great believer that you never stop learning, and with such varied insight into everything sheep, I definitely think you can learn something new every day in this group. Not only is there a huge sense of camaraderie and encouragement in the group. But considering we're mostly strangers to each other, it's incredible how everyone comes together when someone is in need of help, support, or just cheering up on a rough day. Long may it last. And that's really the story of Lady to Lamb. So I hope you found that inspiring. And I've been watching the pings coming through, the notifications on my Facebook. We've got lots of new people looking to join. And from an admin point of view, please answer the questions, because it makes life a lot easier. So thank you very much. And I hope you've enjoyed that.
Hello, I'm Mairi White, Relationship Manager in Agriculture with the Royal Bank of Scotland. I'm also a committee member for the Women in Agriculture Scotland. What I would like to do is open up into the audience and encourage you all to post a question. You should be able to have this function on the platform that you're using. While you're doing that, what I will do is I'll just cover off what the aims of Women in Agriculture Scotland is. It's to be supportive, inspire and develop women in Scottish agriculture, to achieve aspirations and create more progressive, successful and inclusive industry. The objects of the association is to support members to build and foster networks within the agricultural industry, to act on behalf of members to influence and further the progression of women in agriculture, to achieve equality and opportunity in the industry, to inspire members to reach their full potential and to develop members personally and professionally. I would like to thank the speakers for taking the time today to do the presentations. It certainly has been a fantastic group of 3 women showing resilience and innovation, at this time. June has certainly shown great innovation and highlights the benefits of customers promoting our products through social media. So June is the chair of Women in Agriculture Scotland, and she probably has gathered has had a few technical issues today. And so I see that June has just actually managed to come back in. So this is the joys of using broadband in rural areas, as well as live streaming. So I'll just hand over to June.
I hope you can hear me okay, because every time I touch something I seem to fade out. So stay there, Mairi, just in case I disappear. Yes, thank you so much to all of our speakers. I was desperate to ask Debs more also about the cattle as well, because I know that she does Ladies Who Lamb, but I think there's a cattle one as well, so I'll send her a message. Thank you too to Elspeth for telling us so much about her nursery school. When you look at her website, some super names, the nest, babies and things to stay in. It's a lovely website. So during COVID, you've been doing a great job on that website. Oh, Debs is back. I can see you there. Are you able to and maybe tell us you have?
Hi, June. Sorry, I'm losing you a little bit, but I think you're asking about the sister group, if you like, for Ladies Who Lamb. It's but it's set up for cows, so we call it the Cowgirls UK, and it's actually probably needing a lot more work than Ladies Who Lamb. It hasn't developed into the same sort of inspiring group yet, but that's because I have to spend so much time on Ladies Who Lamb. But it's there, and we do have the odd wee post, and we have pictures posted up as well. So that's the cow group, the cow equivalent. It's called the Cowgirls UK. And I also another side sister site, if you like, to the Ladies Who Lamb, is that the Facebook algorithms, which are a bane of any admin's life, but the Facebook rules don't permit the sale of livestock on their pages. So what we've done is set up a second a second group page, which is called Ladies Who Lamb Face Bay, and that is specifically for sales of livestock, because if Facebook decide to shut down the group, they will do that without telling us, and we'll lose it instantly. So we thought that rather than sacrificing the main group, which has so much value and is so appreciated by everybody who uses it, so we post all our sales, and anybody who wants to trade in tops and ewes and all that sort of thing, then they can post it on the Facebook site. And if that gets shut down, then we haven't lost the main group. So that's the story, June. I hope you've got that. Any other questions? I'm happy to answer if there's any interest.
I think we might have lost Debs there, sorry, June there. Could I open up into questions, please? Okay. Elspeth, there's a question actually come through for yourself. Okay. As business owners, you've had to change your operations while balancing a home life with additional family and caring responsibilities. What has this period meant for you?
It's been a very different time, and I think you have to take the positives out of it. It's been really good to have the whole family involved in all the jobs, so everybody's been outside all together, the kids getting involved and helping in whatever it is we're doing. So I would say it's been a positive time. As June had said, just standing back and taking the time, slowing things down, it makes a huge difference. Having set the business up 4 years ago, we've never stopped. So it's been really nice to have that time to sit back and reflect and involve everybody in what we're up to.
Okay, yeah. Great. Okay, thanks. I've got another question here for yourself, Debs. What sort of help or support would you like from your business network over this period?
I think there's been, I've been really impressed actually with the amount of business support that's available and coming through from whether it's Westminster or Scottish governments. There's been a huge amount of innovation amongst micro and small enterprises, and I think this is where there's so much value in these small businesses, because we can be fleet of foot, we can be flexible, we're not ground down by corporate rules or a big organization. So that sort of being able to be flexible and develop new stuff, and the things that Elspeth's talking about has just been so inspiring. You know, that gives us time to think, well, we can do so much more. As for Ladies Who Lamb, I think we haven't really driven, personally, Jess and I haven't really driven very much of it. It all comes from the ladies. The ladies are pushing us. They're asking questions, and then we're seeing somebody saying, oh, what if we did this? And then we think, well, okay, we can help make that happen. So Jess and I step in and make things happen in that sense. But yeah, I think there's a long way we can go. There's a lot of information out there. Sometimes it's difficult to access, but I think that Ladies Who Lamb can grow. I mean, we've got such a wonderful network of 6,500 women throughout the UK. There are so many things we could be doing. It's just taking it to that next level.
Okay, great. Thank you, Debs. And here's another question coming through for Elspeth. What has inspired you to take a pivot at this time and just to change in the way that you work?
I don't think there's one specific thing. I am a great believer of learning new things and applying and always learning. And I think doing the Forest School Leader course gave me the inspiration to change the route of the business and to change where it's going. Because seeing the benefits of that in action, seeing the benefits of getting children outdoors in the countryside, seeing their excitement at collecting the eggs from the hens, seeing the excitement of seeing the lambs running about the field, and what they get from that is going to last them forever. It's a memory. It's making memories for the children rather than just coming to be part of it. So I think applying that new knowledge and skills that I've learned through that Forest School Leader course has given me the inspiration to take the business forward.
Okay, great, thank you. Any more questions coming through? Okay. And Debs, what is the most valuable lesson you have learned so far, and what would you do different during this period?
Oh, that's a tricky one. What would we do differently? I think the most valuable lesson is being open to change and to be adaptive. But I think the most valuable lesson that's really brought home to me, and this is not just from Ladies Who Lamb, but it's also sort of on a wider perspective amongst all the different hats that I wear. But human relationships are so important. We've been so fortunate because we've been kind of shielded from the terrible lockdown and this awful COVID. And you kind of feel a little bit guilty about that sometimes because we're not stuck in a flat in a city and we're still able to access the outside and basically continue on our normal daily routines. But we shouldn't be taking that for granted. I think we've got a huge amount of things to be grateful for. We're very lucky that we can have our family around us and our family able to help on the farm. And it's been really special. My children are in their 20s. You know, Jess is 23 this year and Liam is 25. And their careers have been turned upside down by this terrible disease. But they've come home and we've spent time with them, living in the house, working with them outside, and just rebuilding relationships with them as adults. And that's just hugely valuable. It's been a wonderful source of joy for us. And we're just looking what we can do to help support them recover their careers and take on the next steps. You know, we've helped Liam start a new business because he had lost his previous career. So yeah, we're just doing what we can to take the next step for these young people, and they're the future. We need to be helping them to build on. Yeah, so it's exciting times, and it's been really valuable just spending time building human relationships, I think.
Hi Mairi, it's Yvonne. There's quite a few comments and questions in the comments. Do you want me to read some of them out?
Yes, that would be lovely, thank you. Technology is good when it works, but I can't see some comments, so thank you, Yvonne.
Yeah, there's a couple of comments regarding rural connectivity, which I think, especially with this weather that we're having today. But a question for you, Debs, from Mary Jane Lowry. She's asked, do you do this all on a voluntary basis, and how much extra work is this on top of your existing job as well?
Yeah, we do it on a voluntary basis, and it's the virtual show that I talked about. That took about 8 full days. I mean, I just wasn't expecting that at all. It just completely, threw me a curveball, but it was so much fun. So I don't mind doing that. That's great, and we get such good positive feedback. But so it makes it kind of worthwhile. But this is kind of where we're going with the next steps. Merchandising and taking it to another level where we can start to sort of build a network, a more formalized network, if you like, and see what that can do just to return. It's got to be able to return benefits back to the group, to the ladies who are involved. So that's the plans are exciting.
And there's a follow-up question to you while we've got you here. How many do you have in the well, it says cowgirls, but the other group that you have now?
In the cowgirls group?
Yeah.
Oh, give me 2 seconds and I will just have a look. Sorry, I don't have it open on my computer at the moment. So yeah, can I come back to you on that one, Yvonne, please?
Yeah, of course. And Elspeth, there's a question that has come in for you around scaling up of your business into other areas that aren't rural. I think that's a business opportunity for you moving forward, or for someone else when you look at some of the towns and cities that we have, like getting the children out into the out all day long.
Yeah, I think it's definitely it's in the news at the moment about getting children outdoors. Obviously, the risk of infection is a lot lower outside, and the UV has a lot to do with the virus as well. So, outdoor learning and outdoor play is huge, and it's definitely something that we want to promote. A lot of settings have great outdoor facilities, and we would like to be involved in promoting that as much as we can. So, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, no, that's and did you have a background in education in early years? Of questions came in, or is it something that sort of you've had this desire and you've taught yourself and moved into this?
No, I've got a background, so I'm a qualified primary teacher, and I worked with a local authority for 10 years in a nursery setting, and I couldn't quite do the kind of things that I really wanted to do. I took a lamb in one day to be in with the kids to show them, and the amount of paperwork and risk assessments I had to go through to get that, it just made me realise that there was a better way to do it, so to bring the children out to the countryside rather than the countryside to them. So my background is teaching. And then when we set up, even the knowledge and the kind of paperwork background of a nursery, you would need to have that knowledge to be able to get it done.
No, it's absolutely fantastic getting them outside.
Yeah.
There's a question that's come in from someone that's Jasmine Grant, and she says, I run online sheepdog handler training, which is developed as a result of COVID. A business has come out of COVID. The level of interest is phenomenal. Can Debs tell me how she's managed the rapid growth?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, this is the beauty of the group, is that it's because of the rules, where we have to be kind and we're created a safe place. So that engenders its own atmosphere, and it's almost self-policing. So people only come in and they only be positive when they're in the group. And it's really just democratic. I mean, I don't create any of it. It's down to the ladies and their contribution that makes it what it is. I just sort of sit in the background and keep an eye and make sure that there's no naughty nonsense going on. But yeah, we have a lot of fun, and we've got young girls as well. The next generation of people coming through. But I would be really keen to network and engage with something like online training for sheepdogs. So we've got a fantastic member called Jess Faulkner, and she has got the most amazing dogs in the world. Just stunning what she does. She's a young startup, new entrant, and she's just incredible with running her sheep business. So that sort of thing, please get in touch with me. I would love to see what we can do to sort of work with our audience and bring them the benefits of what you're doing with your online training. It's a great idea.
No, absolutely. And there's a question here from Nicola Gates, one that I'll take forward if you connect with me. I used to work in beef cattle farm and would like to offer my services to women near me in Suffolk with cattle and sheep. Is joining Ladies Who Lamb a good place to start? Yes. And also, if you connect with us, we can put you in touch with one of our Women in Ag relationship managers in that area who can help support you as well as some of their networks. But Debs, do you want to... yeah, I guess joining Ladies Lamb's a great place to start.
Absolutely. Yep. I mean, we have a lot of calls out for this. I mean, we are happy to advertise jobs, and you can be in touch with someone who's in your local area, or ask about, or I am in, wherever it might be. I'm in Dorset, and I'm looking for something. Then one of the ladies may know somebody, their neighbour, who's maybe not in the group, and maybe even a man who's needing some help. So you can go and help and put the two together. Yeah. Can I just add one thing about men? Because I do feel sometimes that people feel that they're, we're too exclusive. But as far as Ladies Who Lamb are concerned, we've always taken the policy that there are a few husbands who are in the group because we have joint accounts. So Mr. and Mrs. Would be in the group, Ladies Who Lamb. But not generally do we permit or let the men in, and that's not for being nasty or anything. We're not trying to draw a line in the sand. It's basically because of the safe place that we've created, and if men want to start a group, then they have the freedom to do so and do their own thing. But this is for us, and this is what we're concentrating on.
Yeah, and I've just seen your other comment in our chat that you've got 573 members in Ladies That Lamb. That's incredible numbers.
No, it's 6,500 in Ladies Who Lamb, and it's actually gone up since I've spoken to you. But it's we're at 573 in the Cowgirls.
Oh,
So we need to grow the Cowgirls.
Yeah, it's still a lot. It's still a good membership in numbers. And there's a couple of other questions, but I think they've already been covered off. So I think we've not got any more questions. Does anyone have a closing comment about, you know, like how the last 6 months? Sorry to throw this one on you at the last minute, but the last 6 months and your biggest sort of insight that you can share with everybody. Insight, whether good or bad, positive, or something that you see coming out of COVID that will be great for your organisation and business.
I think I've probably already said this. I mean, we've gone through some terrible times. I mean, it is just surreal. And we've actually stopped watching the news at home because it just is, it's too worrying, if you like. But our daily lives haven't really changed. And I think that we could get too mired down in worry and concern. And actually, if we just use the relationships that we've built through this time, we've shared a lot of pain, but we've also shared a lot of cheering people up. And I think that's where the strength is going to be. Yeah, we have to be relying on each other and using virtual. If only we could sort rural broadband, that would be my big thing. Please, please, can we sort rural broadband?
Absolutely. And Elspeth, yourself?
Again, I've probably said it already, but just about taking the positives out of it and the benefits of having that family time at home and being able to slow down and really enjoying the countryside setting that we stay in and seeing all the positives from that, enjoying being outside and taking the time.
Yeah. Fantastic. Yeah. Thank you, Mairi. Do you have anything you want to say before we close off? We've got a couple of minutes left.
Yeah, okay. No, I just want to say thank you to all our speakers today. You've done a fantastic job. I know that Debs, you've certainly helped so many people, you know, during this time, and I'm sure that it's going to keep growing and flourishing. It's a fantastic what you're doing. And I know Elspeth as well, you've given so much support, you know, to the local community and to parents, you know, where the children attend the nursery and had to adapt your business so much, you know, during lockdown. I know that we've lost June quite a bit today, you know, just purely because of our connection, but June also does really fantastic work. You know, she's chair of Women in Agriculture Scotland. She also runs her own business, Geyer Plant Services, which you heard a bit of there. She is also involved in, she's also chair of the Willie Davidson's 75th anniversary fund, which helps young farmers. So I know that it's a lot of plates for June to spin as well. So thank you all so much for taking the time and sharing this with our network. And thank you to the audience. We have well, the last count that I had, 170 people who had registered for this event today, and it is being recorded. So it's a fantastic turnout. So I hope everyone has enjoyed it. There is one quote I would like to share with you, and it's come from Debs, which I just think is great. And it's confidence is a cloak. Put that cloak on and live your life. Okay. So I'd like to hand back over to Yvonne just to close off.
Yeah, I think you've closed off perfectly there, Mairi. But just thanks again from our Royal Bank of Scotland and the wider activist group. Please do get in touch if you want our support. We will be hosting more events like this and looking for the opportunity to hear from you about what you would like to hear covered off. But thank you, everybody. Thanks, Debs, Elspeth, Mairi for organising it, and also poor June. But thanks, June, as well.
Okay.
Thank you. See you later. Bye.